And welcome back to 0 to 60 for our little mini-series we're doing on the recent release of Outsiders. I've dredged the denizens of the deep and the pits back out of their slumber. Hello, Liam. Hi, George.
I know
Hello
he's
there.
I know he's quiet, Brooks. It doesn't mean he's sleeping. Okay, it's a bit rude.
To be fair, that's I'm the wrong person to say that he's been sleeping.
That's true. Yeah, he doesn't do
I
that.
mean,
So.
the thing is, he has gone full beanbag.
No,
So,
I haven't.
Not yet. That'll be for later.
oh no, he's not quite pulled it tight. He's like semi-beanbag.
To be fair, I'm not even zipped up.
Oof.
Come on, you can't
It's
even
like I'm like
recognise it.
half. I'm like half beanbag. Like I just cannot take this hood off. My hair is atrocious.
Half man, half beanbag. You heard it here first, folks.
Well, goodness me, we're meant to be here to talk about Ninja, and
Yeah, not
somehow
me.
we're talking about Liam being a beanbag.
I
I'm
mean,
not quite sure how we ended up here, but
I'm
you
quite
know.
happy talking about him being a beanbag, to be honest. All semi-beanbag, sorry.
We're
I
not
don't
starting a
want to.
separate podcast for that.
Welcome
Jesus.
to our new mini series about Liam being a beanbag.
To be
And the
fair-
whole audience has left.
No, actually, I think we've probably just gained a few listeners. It's better than some of our takes.
Probably.
So, yeah, George has already given the game away, or the fact that probably the title of the podcast did. You know, we spoke about Assassin last time. This time it's going to be all about Ninja. So, again, all the cards have wonderfully appeared in front of the viewers at home. For anyone listening at home, just play along. Check out the card galleries on Flesh and Blood or on Fabry. So, I mean, last time we spent a lot of time talking about Azuri and Arachne because we've got some new and exciting heroes. This time we just got reprints. We've got our Katsu Boy and Benji.
Yeah, we certainly did. Looks like they're back. They've wandered over to the pits, and which I think is literally how they ended up here in the lore. To be
Yeah.
fair, but yeah, it's good to have them back. I guess to have them be a bit more relevant, have a bit more support, particularly for Katsu. I don't think anyone saw Benji coming back though. That was a bit out of left field.
No, it
Yeah, it was
was
a bit.
lore-wise. Obviously, they've wandered over because there's a disease rushing its way through Mysteria. Katsu's almost banished himself to go and try and find a cure for his people. Don't know where Benji's turned up. So I just picked him up on the way, to be honest.
Yeah, it's slightly questionable, but I mean, yes, I guess if you're trying to find the cure to a disease, you go to what, by the flavour of this set, appears to be the centre of all disease in Wraith.
I mean, I think that's actually just Riptide, but again, we'll come on to him
Yes.
when we cover off the Rangers. And then we got again with Assassin, we got some really exciting new weapons like Orbital Clast and the Scale Peeler. We just get Kodachis again. Not even Zephyr Needle, just Kodachi.
No, we do
I
just
wasn't
get it.
expecting anything different, to be honest.
Same here. I thought we might get Zephyr Needle, to be fair, before the set came out, but it quite quickly became clear that we were only getting the Kodachi. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
No, and let's.
True.
I mean, how many times have we had Kodachi for one? Kodachi for one. I mean, it's been a while, I guess, since.
It's a fab staple, mate. You can't get away from Kodachi for one.
It's nearly as iconic as Pew Pew for two.
And also, let's be fair. Doesn't everyone love a good old Kodachi lock?
Oh,
No, no. Okay,
love me a
fair enough.
Kanachi. I love a Kanachi.
I was gonna say I thought you might at least. I know you've had your share of success on Control Katsu.
Yeah, Brooks is more mortified still from history.
Honestly, I feel like it's something that's been ingrained onto my soul when you were playing Control Katsu and your flick flacks and your nonsense shite.
I love how he always goes to the defense reaction first for what irks him though. It's always a typical Dory player. He's always like, "Oh, you flick flacks."
God damn it.
Fucking flick flack, man. Oh, it hurts. Um,
Anyway, beside the point.
We'll now get on to some new cards that Ninja's actually got. So, there's a bit of a package in Ninja. We'll come on to them all a little bit more separately around messing about with the names of cards. So we get a couple of reprints around combo lines, but we get this whole idea of kind of cheating the names of cards to try and make those combo lines a little bit more accessible, probably especially if you're playing as Benji. I think the Mask of Many Faces kind of does that in a really elegant way.
Yeah, I really like this. Love the fact that this is probably this is just going to be such a high pick. I think for limited. A nice bit of one block equipment that just helps you string your combo lines together a bit more easily. This is always going to be worth a bit of extra damage in theory. At least it should be if you've got something that gains something off combo, just been able to give something else the name before. I really like this as a limited piece.
Yeah, I agree. I think the design space this card's really cool. It's such a simple design, and yet it would just work so well. It's going to be an interesting pick in the draft space as well for Katsu or Benji, helping them along with the combo lines to make things throw freely. I can't even speak now.
Flow freely.
Thank you.
Flow like water. That's probably an attack, to be honest, in this set.
Nearly.
Close. But
anyway.
But no, I really like the idea of how they're going to try and almost cheat the name system. So when we spoke about Dishonor previously, if you haven't got, you can throw something. You can you break this, then throw your attack, naming it as Surging Strike, and then you probably play considerably less than you would for the Surging Strike. So I think it's going to enable a lot of shenanigans. So I'd give it a solid 3.5 for me.
I'll put it on 3.
Yeah, I think 3.5 is fair for me. I think the only reason I can't really rank any higher is just that it isn't going to see constructive play. I don't think. How in the world can this compete with either of the other two Ninja Masks, Pounce and Links, or Momentum? So in constructed though, it's a high pick, I think, for myself. In limited, sorry.
So we kind of obviously with Ninja you get the whole combo line kind of spiel, and I think we got a couple of new and this is probably my favourite card in the set, even though it's not an assassin card. So spoilers, it's probably going to get a 5 because this is going to give me potentially some of my happiest memories of Fab. I absolutely love Cyclone Roundhouse. You play your spinning wheel kick and that effect. Oh my god, it's hilarious. So many possibilities. I can't wait. The hurt you saw when I mentioned defense reactions. When I yeet that man's rampart out into the oblivion, so much value lost. I love it.
Yeah, the fact that this can just get rid of their rampart off the chain when all they've done with it is
block
a Kodachi at the start. This is pretty damn good. I like this a lot. And like you say, Liam's gonna hate it.
This card hurts my soul.
Good.
So deep. It's honestly, I think the design is actually super cool.
Very cool.
I think something like this definitely helps the Ninja matchup, the Ninja into Guardian matchup. Kind of stops the Guardians from kind of fatiguing them, right? Because why would you not? You shouldn't be scared of this card all the time. Like Kodachi for one, you're gonna put a rampart in front of it, maybe, but then Cycle Roundhouse yeets it. It's like drill shot, right? The Ranger, it's like you're scared of that thing all game.
Yeah, but this doesn't even have to hit. That's the crazy thing. It doesn't require any interaction from you apart from if they just happen to draw, and it's only a 2-card combo. All they need is spinning wheel kick into this, and all of a sudden, if you decide to put that on the chain, then I think you probably need 2 blues just because they're probably if you open with spinning wheel kick, I would be surprised if a Guardian's going to push their rampart onto that.
But I think so because this is where I think it's probably better than drill shot. One, like I say, it's not an on hit, but you just push that Kodachi. They have got no idea which combo line you're going to be heading down or what's going to come next, so they have to commit to that line in terms of blocking before even having any information. Whereas I'm firing a drill shot, it's a drill shot.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's harsh on drill shot to not give it to put that as a downside because you don't know what's leading, right? Because with Lex, you don't know what they're going to lead on. They might try and bait that. But for this, it's the same idea. You bait out with a Kodachi. But with this, I just think it's the lack of interaction. The one thing the Guardians do well is block. So drill shot, it's got to hit. This, who cares about hitting? I don't care if this deals 0 damage. If it gets rid of their rampart early in the game, that doesn't matter if it dealt 0. It's probably done 10 damage for the rest of the course of the game that they've taken from Kodachis because they can't rampart them anymore.
Equally, you look at Assassin as well, because their whole thing is obviously they can buy back their equipment, but they can't buy it back from Banish because they can only buy it back from the graveyard. You can permanently get rid of their Mask of Perdition or their brand new redback Shroud. All or the black text.
Yeah, I mean, getting rid of the mask seems absolutely huge for any fatigue or acne build out there that seems to have been popularized recently. Is the kind of the most common version of that deck. So I think getting rid of that for them, like you say, or to be honest, just getting rid of someone's battle worn piece of equipment. If you get rid of a Runeblade's grasp, suddenly they've got to find another way to activate Swarming Gloomveil, because no just easy pitch into grasp anymore because it's just gotten banished. Doesn't matter. So yeah, I think I really like this card. I don't think we've seen anything like it so far in Flesh and Blood with this sort of effect of this random banish off the combat chain.
No, it's pretty unique. I think because of the uniqueness, I would give it a 4.5. I'm not quite as taken away with it like Brooks is, but 4.5 is high enough for me, I think.
Yeah, I'm in similar boat. I know we all know what Brooks is going to be, so I'll jump in here and go with I will go with a 4.5 as well. It is a little pricey as the combo as well, I think, to try and get this one after the Kodachis, but I can see why, because the effect is nuts.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm giving it a 5 because a bit like there's a few achievements I want to have in Flesh, but one is to kill someone with Regicide because they're royal, and one is to yeet someone's Nitro Mechazoid that they've just built and blocked with into the sun with this.
Complete aside though, but I think we found another one today, Brooks, which is to give somebody all of each token affliction at the same time. So give someone a frailty, a blood rot, and an inertia on the same turn.
Which George completed today.
Which
strong.
Did do, so it was fun.
Strong. I'm a fan of that.
But it was one of those did that. I was like, this feels like an achievement. It's this is good.
Yeah. Dishonor we've covered in a previous episode, but I mean, in terms of scoring it, I still love this. Again, as an effect, it's so unique.
Yeah,
and it kills some heroes dead.
I think it's worth looking at this one again as well, just because we now know the full combo line, which I believe when we last spoke about this we didn't, and we'll I guess come on to those in a little bit. But this card is incredible. The on hit is ridiculous. I think the line, as we guess, like I say, we'll come to it a little bit. Is less interactive than the previous Surging style line with Lord of Wind. So I think this card's amazing. And yeah, I can't really see much downside to running this in Ninja. I think it'd be the first line I'd reach for now.
Especially with the name cheating as well. The fact that, and especially if you're doing this as Benji, you can actually probably do the full line. You then throw your Kodachi, you lose the +2, which means this becomes, you can't block this with card. It comes in, so which is good for Benji. You hit this, and you think about people like Azuri, they lose their abilities just to flash it in. Riptide will come on to. Azalea, you can't dominate arrows.
Levia loses every game.
Levia loses. Kano loses. Dory loses. Oh, there's so many people that are just going to hate this card. And when you see that line coming and the fact they can cheat names and then you leave them left with potentially cards in hand or pitch, you throw this and then you've got, whether it's Razor, whether it's Ancestral Empowerment, whether it's just Breaking Scales, man no likey.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about this as well, because I think I heard the argument a lot about this card is when we first saw it, is they were like, "Oh, it never hits, right?" And that may be true. Maybe you play Ninja a lot and you basically never hit with this card. But who cares? Because do you know what? They're probably going to be that scared of this, they're going to eat the whole rest of the combo line. Once they know they can't stop it anymore, that's it. They're going to be eating damage on the Bonds of Ancestry, on the Gust Wave, on the Surging Strike. If they know they can't stop you getting to this,
I think as soon as you see Descendant,
they want those cards to block this.
Yeah, as soon as you see Descendant, you're saving cards.
Yeah, I think that's the point I was going to reiterate from the previous podcast. Is I made the point of basically what you just made it to George is the Dishonor is they're so scared of Dishonor that the previous the cards before are just going to deal so much damage because they're so scared of losing their hero ability. I think this card's fucking crackers, to be honest. I said it then, I think it now. So I think it's a 4.5 for me.
Yeah, I think it's 4.5 for me as well.
Yeah, it's right up there. I can't quite give myself to give it a 5, but to be honest, then again, I don't know what more I'd want from it to make it a 5, so maybe I should be. But I think I'll stick with a 4.5 for now.
But I think, again, speaking of fab achievements, I think killing a Levia by turning off their ability is going to be one of those things to do. I mean, part of that achievement is finding a Levia player.
It's also it feels a bit rude. I mean, come on, they're playing Levia already. Don't be that mean.
Yeah, when they've got cards that don't block at all, then take 6, I guess.
yes. The reason that they didn't block this wasn't because they didn't want to. It's because they were physically incapable of.
They drew a handful of pulp in.
Yeah, sorry to all the Levy players out there. I know you do exist. Your cult
Yeah,
of
no,
Mansant.
fair play to you if you're out there playing Levia, because yeah, I'm sure. I hope you're having a good time doing it, because it can be rough. I know.
Then we got head leads the tail, another M, which almost feels like something again from the last set. It feels like a sort of Katsu cat version, Kitty Katsu, Kit Kat, whatever people call it these days.
Yeah. This feels like a bit like I think we quickly touched on. We talked about Assassin before. There was certain bits that felt like they were from previous sets. Like you say, this just feels like an absolute slot into every Tiger Katsu deck. It's another version of Art of War, right? Not quite as good, but it's all blocks and everything else, and comes in for an attack for itself. But the fact you can buff all your tigers with this is pretty damn good. Outside of that, I don't think I ever want to put it in a regular Katsu deck or a Benji deck.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is just Katsu's Crouching Tiger Spreading Flames. It's literally just name Spreading Flames and that name Crouching Tiger, and then you start doing your Predator streaks. It just gives you another part of the combo, right? Another anthem, as Scott would say. Another part of
He
the
does
combo
like that phrase.
You
It was
mean
a good anthem.
you mean the Scott Howling Mines?
Oh, he's got a new nickname, HM.
Oh, okay.
He's added. I told him that I've added HM to the list because the stat community call him HM.
What?
But anyway, that's a different story.
That's one for we'll cover that when we get to generics, I think, because there's some arms in there. We then get.
I need to rate heads. Need to rate.
Oh, Headley Tail, yeah. 3, maybe 2.5 actually.
Oh, I think 2.5 is harsh. Like, just because it only fits into one archetype doesn't mean it's a bad card. And I mean, I've played some Tiger Katsu. I find it fun. It's a fun deck. The one problem we got with it is the turns that do nothing, and the turns that it goes off on are absolutely insane. But I really like it. So this just adds a little bit more consistency to the deck. So I do like it. I'd give it a 3.5. I think is fair.
I'll go to the middle and say it's a 3.
I say if it was if it sees a little bit more wider play, I'd be happy to be wrong. In fact, obviously it blocks 2, but
I think that's fair. Spreading Flames does as well, and like you say, this is a very similar level effect, and no one disputes that Spreading Flames is a good card, but that only sees playing.
That
just
is accurate. Wander with Purpose, so we get a Benji specialization. It's just turn Benji into Katsu for.
Literally print Katsu on a card, right? I think it's actually a cool design. I think for Benji, I think it makes him picking up the combo cards in drafts, and his sealed pool slightly better, makes it a bit more fluid.
Yeah,
it's just a mediocre card.
The only thing I'm not so sure on with this one is just the more I think about it, the more I'm a bit like, I'm not sure if this is necessarily good, because obviously you have to play this, which is one card out your hand. You have to discard a card, because obviously, at least with Katsu, you don't have to like pay a card for the trigger apart from the card you're discarding. This being 2 of your cards, you're never going to complete a combo line, and it's got to be part of a combo line which is 2 or less. Oh no, it's not actually, to be fair. So it could be anything, but even so, you didn't have to have the combo piece after this. I don't know.
If you use this, having just paid for your Mask of Many Faces.
Yeah, that's true, I suppose. But then again, that's a draft piece, right? So I don't know. This seems like quite a steep price to pay to get a combo line, which I'm guessing, I don't know how many. What's the massive impact that Benji's going to tutor up with this? He can't go and get Spring Tidings because there's no combo on the card. So I don't really know what he searches for this to be impactful.
I mean, in a limited environment, maybe this is one of the ways that he does do the dishonor line.
I don't know if that's even possible, really, because I mean, you've got to have this in addition to the rest of the dishonor line.
I think that's always going to be his downside, right?
Oh, but all I mean is like instead of him having this on the hero ability, this is an expensive way to do it because you need this in addition to the card you're going to discard, and then every other piece has to be
Yeah, yeah.
the correct part of the line. I suppose, like you say, with maybe Mask of the Many Faces, maybe it becomes a bit more achievable because you give this the name Surging Strike,
Yeah.
and then go and find your Gust
Yeah.
Wave.
And that's the thing, we've got cards like Flow Like Water as well, which can,
Be
are
Like
fairly
Water.
Be Like Water, sorry, where you can start maybe get into a cheaper level of doing that. It's still going to be hard because you have to have verging on the perfect hand at that point.
Yeah, for sure. So, like I say, I mean, the more I think about this card thing, the more I'm like, at first I was like, it's a really cool piece of design space. I do wonder whether maybe this could be pretty good in if someone's playing like a Tiger version of Benji instead. Just because this would allow you to go and search for something like Tiger Swipe, and obviously the Tigers in general have got a pretty good advantage with Benji in that they shouldn't be blockable from hand, regardless. So whether this is something that they were kind of aiming for with this, making him look more down that line of things, I don't know. But it's an interesting card by all means.
Very middle of the road for me. I think I'll give it a 3 because it's got a doggo in the art.
that's fair. I think I'd go a little lower, 2.5 or so.
But doggo.
I'll go slightly lower and call it a 2.
I mean,
But
yeah,
doggo.
Yeah, the
I
doggo
agree.
is the 2.
Yeah. It also, is the doggo stealing something off somebody? In that
Exactly. It's even better, doggo. It's cheeky doggo.
art? Wonderful.
Well, I think I mean the next one's probably, having spoiled what I thought my best card of the set was, this might be my the card I was most disappointed in, because the Silverwind Shuriken has some of the best art in the set.
I was going to say, you can't be disappointed with the art, mate. Come on.
I know. I'm not disappointed with the art. The art is exactly what I wanted it to be. The effect, however, is not. I mean, the fact it's an item and turn 0, you can play this, or it's a 0 blue, so you can do the whole Kadachi nonsense. But there's a million 0 blue cards in Katsu these days. I just, outside of turn 0, do I ever really want to play this? You get it. It's like breaking scales on the board.
Yeah, the upside feels really good, right? And it feels like it should be something that's good because breaking scales can win you games. It can force your opponent to overblock in the end game when obviously they're on low life, they can't afford to take your combo effect, or even just they're on 1, and they have to respect every break point. But this feels like it's going to catch up with you when you've got a no block, when you have to not be able to end on a combo like ender because you want to drop this thing onto the board. So yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. But like I say, the artwork is, I don't know, I really like it.
The card is I wish this had go again. I really do.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just basically breaking scales on the board. Like turn 0s is fine, right? You can maybe Kadachi throw something with Gilgan out and play the Shuriken. But again, like it's a living in a dream world, I think, if you want to play this card.
It's like I say. I mean, I had such high hopes that I wanted them to do shurikens at some point, and
Yeah,
this just isn't it. I was hoping it was going to be more. Maybe it was a weapon, or a bit like how tigers are. Something you just keep throwing at people and they're deadly. This just feels like it's a brick.
yeah, I was hoping for something I think similar to yourself there, Brooks. I was hoping that maybe this was something you could create or whatever. But like I say, yeah, I'm not big about the effect at all. The lack of go again, the lack of block, which I understand with it being an item, they couldn't start printing block on these, but maybe yeah, it's a bit of a strange one to put a no block on this.
If it had go again, I'd be much higher on this, but it gets a 1 from me. I just don't ever want to play it.
Yeah,
I'll give it a 2 because the art is so fucking cool.
I'll go 1.5 here. The art's really cool, and yeah, it's I guess maybe as a one of if you get a turn 0 play.
But
I guess I'm trying to find reasons to play it.
If there was a doggo throwing the Ninja Star, you get a 2.
So basically, everything would be slightly better if it had a doggo in it. Is that your podcast here? Is that your TED Talk here, Brooks?
I think that's my advice for life. Everything is better with a doggo, and I don't think you'll disagree with me.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Life is better. Life is better with a doggo involved.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I wish I could.
Yeah, but like I say, but the art is, like you said, Liam. The art is so good. It makes me so sad. Anyway, moving on
Speaking of
from
good art, I mean, to be fair,
yeah,
looking at the next one.
this is the sort of thing you want in a print. And I saw an interesting point from someone earlier that in the actual flavor text for this, amongst these transcendents, it's capitalized. Every time they've done this in previous sets, I think it was in one set, I think Uprising got mentioned, and it was the only capitalized word. I think another one had Dynasty.
Ooh.
We had another one which was Dusk Till Dawn, and obviously all of those, or Dawn Till Dusk, and it's now turned out that all of those have been set names. So some people are now theorizing that this Transcendence might end up being a set name. I'm not entirely sure myself, but I like a little bit of theory.
It
Maybe,
might
maybe
be the Mysterious set.
I wonder if it could be a location. We might see another location card. If this is the name of this kind of like mountain range or like kind of mountain range-esque looking thing that we can see in the card art, because that'd be very cool, I think.
But actually, talk about the effect on the card. It's another zero block. It does the zero thing.
It
I
does
think,
the zero thing.
yeah, I can't.
Wonderful.
It's just Kadachi. Do some, make me miserable.
You can tell he's not a ninja player.
No, there's only so many times I can block a Kadachi. The effect is weird. I'm kind of not sure. I think there's some shenanigans afoot when you get to CC. I think we mentioned it before, doing stuff like an Art of War to be able to draw the two cards that you've to make sure you get the same two cards, or you don't have to necessarily get. You can just get the surging. If it's a blue surging, you get the blue to pitch, and then you get actually a combo card that you want. It's got
Yeah, I do wonder, like you say, whether maybe there's some shenanigans with this. I do think there's like a dream line of you come in with an attack or something, and then you maybe ancestral. You play this in ancestral or ancestor in response, and then are able to draw the card that you just put back onto the top of your deck. And the fact that you can split between top or bottom means you could even do that on a surging, I guess, and just put the whelming on top of the deck, draw straight into that, and then you could even, if that causes the hit, go and shoot at the next piece of the combo as well. So I think there's some play there. I just can't mind if I think it's good.
I like the splitting of the card as well, because actually you can put one on the top, one on the bottom, can't you?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, so like if you did it on a surging, right, you could always put the surging to the bottom and put the ancestral, the whelming to the top, and then just grab that with an ancestral empowerment.
Yeah,
was kind of what I was thinking, but yeah, it's certainly an interesting one, and I think maybe it's good. Maybe it helps in a fatigue game.
Saucy boy.
I mean, you stole my point already, you bastard, Brooks.
He's
How
going to agree
could
with
you?
He's going to agree with me again.
No, you're not agree with me. You copied what I said yesterday. God damn it, about the Art of War drawing two cards. This podcast is basically what Brooks is doing. He's stealing everything I said yesterday and making himself sound smart for once. Anyway,
ooh, this beanbag's got teeth and claws.
Yeah, I think for me this is it's a blue pitch remembrance, which is but very specific.
You
but
see,
these are the cards you would remembrance anyway. So it's kind of interesting. I do like the idea of playing Visit to the Floating Dojo, Tunic Helmet, Art of War to draw two combos.
I nearly
seeing where your turn goes from there.
I nearly used the term blue remembrance, Liam, and but unlike Brooks, I was like, I remember Liam saying that yesterday. I better let him make his point on that one. Not a bad person like Brooks.
Well, Liam doesn't usually say much, so I kind of just make sure. I can never count one day to the next on what he's going to end up saying, or
he did it.
He could have just sat there and said, "Card's good."
The guy did it in the last episode as well, but I ignored that one. I didn't think he'd do it again.
Do you know what? Right, you can make all your points, and I'll do your usual review. Card's good.
Card's okay.
3.
Shut up, Brooks. Rate the card.
3.
Yeah, I think he just did. He did it in Liam Holden style, so he didn't notice.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go for it, mate. No, you go.
I'll go 3, and then I'll decide if it's better or not after some testing. I think.
Yeah,
I can't decide.
I think I'd love to come in with a different number here, but I can't be giving this like a 4 right now when I really don't quite know how I feel about it and whether it's good enough. So I think I'm going to have to stick with a 3 as well. I really like the idea though, of what it's trying to achieve, maybe, and it maybe being a package for Ninja to get around a bit of fatigue and just maybe to set up a combo. I do like it, but I guess
Cool
we'll try it
concept.
out.
And Fab continues its record of completely knocking it out the park with the art on these cards.
It's
Insane.
fantastic.
Bonds of Ancestry, I think we've covered before. Obviously part of that Dishonor line. And now we know what Descendant Gust Wave does, which enables the Dishonor. And obviously this just fills part of that. And another card which just feel bad. Good old Recoil. And I mean, we got a cold these set of almost like combo line enders after like just after the opener. So, I don't really rate any of them in like Recoil and a couple of the others as well.
I'll be honest.
I would.
I'll go
Go
for
on.
it, mate.
No, you go.
Okay, sure. All I was gonna say is I hate Recoil. This is not a card that I like at all. For coming in straight after head jab, this don't get me wrong. On hit effect sounds great on paper, but why is this not got go again? Why is it not got like maybe one more attack so that the on hit effect has a chance of going through? If you give your opponent the chance to either not take 3 damage and lose a card, or just lose a card and take 3 damage, I think most of the time they're probably just going to put 1 card in front of it. So yeah, I don't know. This doesn't feel good to me in many ways at all.
Let's say you're not going to waste a Snapdragon Scalers to give this go again, are you?
No. Plus, also, I mean, I'm not a massive fan of head jab in the first place.
No.
So if you want to play head jabs, play Fi.
Shit, all draconic.
Yes.
I'm gonna put Recoil, 1-2 Punch, and Deadly Duo all in the same category. No, not Deadly Duo.
Back heel kick.
Back heel kick. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Recoil, back heel kick, 1-2 Punch in the same category. These are all fucking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
They're a 1. They've got to go again, and the starters suck.
Yeah.
You're going 1.
Yeah, I'm putting them on 1. These are the worst cards in the whole set for me. I think class cards
Yeah.
wise.
I think I agree. I don't even know if I want to draft these particularly. Like, you don't even get a great turn out of this in draft. Even if you could actually maybe a head jab into this.
Yeah, you draft the head jab, but it sucks. But at least it's got fucking go again.
Exactly. Like I'm happier drafting a head jab than this. And I mean, if you're playing against Azuri, I quite imagine that if you could actually head jab into this, she's quite happy. She just drop a 3 block in front of this, and then can do shenanigans on her own turn by swapping in attacks. Doesn't feel like you're going to be pushing damage into this with this effect at all. Even if you get the combo to work.
I think
It's a real shame.
The only positives for me, it's the blue block 3s at 0.
Yeah, for sure.
And if that's the best thing about these cards, they are 1s.
Yeah, I agree. They're 1 for me.
It's a shame because the art is amazing again. Like back heel kick is stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one in particular I do quite like. But yeah, I agree. I think honestly I'd take the blues over the reds for some of these. A lot of the times in draft that having a Kodachi will cold. Exactly. It's a block 3 when I have 2 of them in hand. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at these for as well.
Yeah. But we have got a nicer card, and it fits in with my favourite card of the Cyclone Roundhouse, is the Spinning Wheel Kick. I love the fact it can combo off itself, the effect is cool, and it enables the Cyclone.
Yeah,
and it's got to go again.
Everything that's wrong with Recoil is what's right about Spinning Wheel Kick, right? Like, it's just over that break point. Sure, I have to pay for it, but it's got combo, it's got go again. It combos off itself, like you say, but also has a combo finisher. So I have options even when my opponent has some block with armor and I don't really see any benefit to Cyclone Kicking. I just go and find another Spinning Wheel Kick.
Yeah.
And it gets that buff. If it hits, it goes to the bottom of the deck, so I could, if my opponent doesn't want to block him in an aggro matchup, I don't run out of these to go and combo for. I can just keep finding the Spinning Wheel Kicks when they come up. So yeah, I think this is a fantastic card. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a really cool card. I think hitting the break point is really good. It's definitely it's essentially a better leg tap, right?
Yes.
And I think the recursion is going to be quite interesting, especially in the draft format when if things like people like Riptide, which will come into the next episode, start getting a bit blocky on you and trying to fatigue you in limited format, spinning wheel kick might actually be a true powerhouse for the ninjas to get over that line. So yeah, I really like this card.
Yeah, big fan. Really am. Like I say, it is really leg tap plus, I think is the way to put it, Liam, to be fair. So I think this is like a 3.5 for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to go a little bit higher on this, considering, like I say, I mean, it leads into my favourite card. So I'm tempted to give it a. Yeah, I think maybe 4's a little bit too high, but I like the fact that you play this, you play the next one, it's going to be 5. And 1 for 5 feels pretty good with Go Again. And an
Oh,
on
it definitely does feel good, and yeah, no, I like the card a lot. It's very impactful, but I think I'm quite happy at a 3.5. Like I say,
Yeah. I'm going to go 4. I'm
3.5.
going to be positive.
I think I don't know. For me, I think the next card is the reason why I can't find myself rating it higher, and that's because I think the next one up is the best ninja card that we've got in the set.
Back heel kick.
No, certainly not that. We've covered that one, Brooks.
No, I agree. Be Like Water is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, absolutely. This thing's insane. I think it's amazing. The ability to replace the card name on an attack, to give a relevant on hit that isn't even just anything related to cats or anything like that. This is worth blocking many times by itself, because your opponent just goes, well, okay, I don't have to bother playing a 2-cost Surging Strike. I'll just hit with this, pay 1, and then I can do the entire Descendant Gust Wave, Bonds of Ancestry, Dishonor combo line for free. It cost me 1, the entire thing. So it does make it possible to Kadachi into that entire line without pitching more than one blue.
Yeah, a card good.
This card is fucking crackers, in my opinion. This is head jab on steads. I think
Yes.
the only thing I would change about it, I think I've made this point. I don't know if we spoke just like privately or whatever. I would change probably head jab and twin twisters on this card and put it to like leg tap 100 wins, maybe, but it might be fucking way too good at that point. But I think it's basically a 0 for 3 Go Again.
Yeah,
which is basically head jab, and then you pay 1 to make it easier for your combo lines to start. So there's no downside to this card whatsoever.
I agree. I can't see myself ever paying very often to either play head jab or twin twisters. But yeah, maybe the card would be too good if you were doing leg tap and 100 wins, because I'd certainly activate those. If I've already got a handful of 100 wins and I can do a full 100 wins line with this, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts, right?
That'd be an interesting one, actually, to be fair, because it gains the chosen name. So if this had 100 wins on it, would that make it be shuffled back in by Winds of Eternity?
Yes.
That would be
yeah.
That would be very cool. That would have been a very cool interaction. I do wish this had 100 wins on it just for that reason.
No, I've seen a couple of people talking about what you can actually potentially do is, if you are going down the 100 wins line and say you are running the new mask, you can actually crack the mask, give the Winds of Eternity 100 wins, and the Winds of Eternity should shuffle itself back in.
If it hits.
If it hits.
Yeah.
That's
But
pretty funny.
you can do that at instant speed, I guess, right? Once you actually know it's going to hit.
No, because you have to. Because it says the next attack, so you have to.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
But I think the idea of doing that and just making your Winds of Eternity shuffle itself back into your deck with everything else, like, this is stupid. Probably not going to win you a game, but it's still pretty damn good in terms of like an anti-fatigue kind of style.
On
It's a
the
cool
list of
interaction.
fab achievements.
Yeah, shuffle.
Shuffle Winds of Eternity yourself back into your deck with itself.
We need a full definitive list of these fab achievements.
Do you know what? I'd be up for making those lists and like see what people can come up with. If anyone's watching on YouTube, do that commenty thing that people ask you to do, and what would be a fab achievement? Because I really like the idea of having them, to be honest.
Or at us on Twitter.
Or at us on Twitter. Maybe I'll do a poll. People like polls.
You like polls.
Hey, in the poll that I said, do people like polls? It got a very good return in terms of yes.
Very high response to yes in the would we like polls.
Yeah. I think Be Like Water gets a 4 for me.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Yeah, I was just about to say 4.5. I think this is like I said. I think it's the best ninja card that we get here. Like the Dishonor line is very good, but this is just good within itself. I cannot imagine building a Katsu deck without whacking 3 of these red ones straight in the deck. So I
Honestly, if
think
this had
4.5.
100 wins and leg tap on it, I'd give it a 6 out of 5.
Yeah, I'd give it a 5 as well if it had those. To be fair, but like I say, I think it's just good enough right now. Even if you just ignored the head jab and the twin twisters, just being able to make it surging is
Yeah.
so impactful.
Like I say, even if you're doing the Lord of Wing combo, this becomes real good.
Yeah, same thing, right? You know, the biggest expense is to play the surging, and you know, to the point where people used to run heart and cross trap and still do to some extent to mitigate that cost. Well, you don't need to do that if you can just play Be Like Water. Sure, you have to hit, but that's what ancestral empowerment's for. That's what Razor's for. You know, these do allow you to get around that.
I like it. Deadly Duo's a really weird card for me. It feels kind of anti-synergistic. It feels like it should be a Benji card as soon as he's on the art. And
yeah, it feels like that's where it's aimed, right?
But Benji often doesn't want to buff his attacks above 2, so giving them a +2, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to me. It suddenly makes his attacks blockable, which makes them feel slightly worse. Unless you're doing something like Spring Tidings eventually, which can then really ramp up into quite a sizable attack. But
yeah, you see, I don't know. I think you say that. I'm not actually sure that Benji doesn't want his attacks to be unblockable. I think if you do sometimes just as Benji just throw out 2 2 2 2 2, people will outvalue you when they just hold their entire hand and hit you back. Maybe the ideal Benji line and what this is trying to get you to do is to have a number of smaller attacks, push damage, and then come in with large attack that's been buffed because this is hit or because this has done this, which then comes in for a larger value, which then encourages them to block that. So I mean, maybe that's what they're aiming for. But I get your point. I think it's not a card that excites me or anything else. It's just it's a bit uninteresting, and it is somewhat anti-synergistic. You'd have to be really careful on what you put this effect on.
Yeah, I agree. I think can't really work out the card. Can't really work out where it belongs. Maybe sealed / draft. For some reason, I'm fucking drafting Benji. I don't see myself in that corner, but might have to at some point. Maybe it'll make
draft
sense.
your seat. Force
Yeah,
Ninja.
if that's what your seat is in, then I'll probably see myself drafting Benji at some point or another. And
exactly.
the yellow deadly duet, I could see myself picking up some of those.
Yeah, for sure.
For Benji, by all means.
To be fair, I did enjoy doing Tiger Benji at the weekend in our cube, but more on that in another episode, I think.
Yes, probably not a rabbit hole to go down right now.
No, I'm going to give it a 2. Feels a bit weird to me, but like I say, there was probably some play in it.
Yeah, I think despite the fact of jumping into its defense a little, I think I'm going to stick with a 2 as well. The card isn't I don't know, it doesn't invoke much in me, to be honest.
I'll go 1.5.
Oof. You put it that close to the likes of the back heel kick and recoil.
It's not far away for me.
It's got go again. It's so much that on its own's worth 1.
It costs 1 though. It costs 1.
It also doesn't block 3. But yeah.
I like it. So this was the last card in the whole Dishonored chain that we hadn't seen, and it's kind of got the same feel with Descendant Gustwave. Again, I don't know what it is about the art on like the ninja cards, where it's like the ghosty stuff like Ancestral Empowerment, but it always looks so cool. This will look awesome in foil.
I can imagine it will, yeah. It's a really nice piece of artwork, and the whole line having a consistent one as well. Like when you look a little bit closer at Bond's Ancestry, where you got the faces in the wind in that as well, and obviously they carry over to the Descendant Gustwave here. The art is spectacular on it, and I really like this card. I think, as we kind of alluded to earlier, the fact that this also has a cost reduction on it, the fact that this becomes free when you're playing as part of the combo. 0 for 5 rather is really good. I mean, it's a rising knee thrust that's part of obviously the longer combat chain, the longer combo chain rather, and on the surging line, I don't think that can be a bad thing.
And going back to what we said before, this is the sort of card, once you see Descendant Gustwave, you're already starting to think they might go and get they might have Dishonor. Where a 0 for 5, which has already got natural go again, this is where you might actually do the damage rather than necessarily hitting with Dishonor.
Yeah, for sure. Right, particularly if they've already maybe triggered and found bonds, because once you find bonds, that whole combo line's unstoppable. At least in terms of like preventing on hits. Once they've got that, the bonds of ancestry doesn't need to hit anymore. So that will just go and search out potentially the dishonor as long as there's a copy in the graveyard. Then they're going to be throwing a dishonor at you. By which point, like you say, you're probably fine with 5 vanilla damage when it comes to a choice between that or losing your hero ability for the entire game.
Unless you dash.
Yeah, in which case you probably don't care so much.
Yeah, the something that goes away for me is like a better version of Rise and Thrust. I think so. Rise and Thrust was always a pretty good card anyway in the combo lines, but the something that goes away being flexible in the point where you can still play it as a 1 for 3 Gorgon, which isn't great, but it has the versatility of not clogging up your hand, like the occasional drawing the combo pieces midway through it. So like having multiple midway combo pieces in your hand in a Katsu, the Second Gust Wave kind of gets around that problem. And obviously if it's combo, that's a certain strike the cat's nuts.
Yeah, I like as well that like you say, you compare it to Rising Neathras, that it's not strictly better. It doesn't have that, despite the fact that it gets the reduction. They didn't just make it 0 cost, so it can't pitch for Kadachi.
Yeah.
You obviously, it's not a 3 block; it's only a 2. I like the fact that they've made it so it does feel just not a strict upgrade, but like you say, and on the whole, probably feels a bit better. It's a card I'm a big fan of. I think I'd give this a 4.
I really like the design space that they've. Some of these lines not make them free to play if you're going down the combo, but don't just make them 0 cost. I really like this. I love the whole combo line for this, especially if you do it off a Be Like Water. 4.
Yeah, 4.
Very nice.
Easy. And then Ninja continues its. It gets a. Well, I think we've already covered 1-2 punch, and then we get a whole load of reprints. You get your Surgeons, you get your Twin Twisters, Head Jabs. Ultimately, a bit disappointed. There's so many reprints for Ninja, and they also don't get an L, which I find kind of interesting. It's the first time I think we've had a class not get a specific L, at least, because we will see one in the hybrid cards.
To be fair, I think they're not got an L because they've just had Shuko in Uprising, and I think that Mysteria's not. I don't think Mysteria's too far away. I think that we'll be hitting Mysteria really soon. If there's a little bold prediction as the future sets come up.
No, I agree. I think we probably will.
The Light and Shadow one.
Like you say, we know the next one now, but I do think Mysteria is probably pretty soon for us. So I mean, I'm okay with the reprints. I don't know about you guys. Head Jab's a little bit of a disappointing one for me. Twin Twisters, I don't think I've really seen anyone really play. So, and I don't actually think that's the one kind of disappointing thing with. Although I'm a really big fan of the spinning wheel kick into Cyclone Roundhouse line, I'm kind of a little disappointed that you don't actually have to play the Twin Twisters for that one, because it just would have been nice to see that card actually maybe have a reason to play.
Well, I mean, if you do play the Twin Twist, I mean, it starts getting very expensive if you are going to go Cyclone Kick. But if you're just doing the recursion, starting off with the Twin Twisters to give choosing the first mode and then giving that to the Hurricane.
Yeah, I don't think you're rarely going to see. You're rarely going to see someone, I think, choose the first mode on Twin Twisters though, right? Because it's on hit compared to just getting a +1.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a little bit of a shame. But I mean, Head Jab is just not an interesting card. Surging, I'm glad they did a new line for that. So I think that's an interesting way of doing it. So I'm quite happy to see that reprinted. But yeah. I think that's all this for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see metrics before we go to Mysteria, because we've already had quite a lot of Ninja support in the game recently, and obviously we still have only got Dash. And if anyone says, "Oh, we've got Data Doll," no, it doesn't count. Data Doll does not count. Well, so we get like Data Doll Mark 3, and then it's got 5 intellect. Then we'll start talking about it.
No, she goes the other way. She goes down to 2 intellect. Her ability's cracked though. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Overall thoughts on Ninja?
I think there's definitely cards that Cats are using in CC. I think giving him different combo lines is a refreshing take because he got really stale using the same cards. Obviously, I wasn't a fan of the Crouching Tiger line. I didn't really enjoy that deck so much. I think it's whether or not Katsu is good enough to start to peek his head in competitive. It remains to be seen, but I think drafting both the ninjas will be definitely interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, I'm happy with a lot of the cards we got in here. I think there's a lot I like the new combo lines. I think, like Liam said, really, I do. I love the new the dishonor line. I think it's really cool. I think that'll be a big boost to CC. I can't see people not playing that. And the fact that you can obviously have that and the Lord of Wind line in the same deck and just being able to pivot between the two at different points, I think that'll be a real big upgrade. So I think that'll be really impactful. Apart from that, I think there's a couple of cards that are good. Like I say, Be Like Water stands out for me completely. Seems like a fantastic card that I think just will immediately go into Katsu decks. So I think they've done really well here. I mean, I think if you guys started rating them, I think I'd go for about a 4 for Ninja overall. I mean, obviously they didn't get an L, but like you say, I think they've had one recently. I don't think they needed to see another one that was specifically tailored for them. They've got a pretty good equipment suite now anyway.
What was your rating source?
On Ninja, this set 4, maybe 3.5. I can't decide. 3.75. There you go. Going right in the middle.
Come on, none of that. Thank you very much.
None of that bullshit. You can have a half. You don't have any quarters.
Yeah,
3.5.
There you go.
Yeah, that's fair. I think.
I mean, I feel it's really mixed because it's got both some of my favourite cards and some of my favourite art, and it also, I did call beforehand, we get potentially some divergent combo lines off, which don't require specializations. But it's also got some of the most disappointing cards and some of the draft chaff, which I don't think we're ever going to see again outside of a draft or limited. I'm going to go, I think 3.5 or 3.62 if I'm feeling like Liam.
I think 3.5 is pretty fine. It's got some high points, but yeah, there's definitely some disappointment. Though I will say, as a slight spoiler for a future part of the miniseries, I don't think it's got the most disappointing card in the set in it.
No, that's true. But no, I'm not excited by Ninja as much as I am by Assassin, but it's definitely nowhere near a spot like I was with Icelander. I just don't want to draft Wizard. I'll happily draft a Katsu deck, a Benji deck, and I probably will. So I want to see how it plays. But I think, chaps, any closing thoughts before we wrap up part 2 of our mini-series of Outsiders?
Nothing from me.
No, I think we've covered everything pretty much there. I am excited to play some Ninja as well in limited, so it'll be good. I've played some in the past. Be intrigued to see what it looks like in the limited environment. So
yeah, I mean, I think for me, just looking for I just want to get my hands on the cards. The more we go through them, the more excited I get, and the further away next weekend feels.
Doesn't it just? It feels too far away right now.
Oh, it really does. But yeah, obviously do the whole like and subscribe nonsense. And if anyone has got any ideas for what would be fab achievements, give us a shout on Twitter or comment below. And thank you very much, gents. And I think next time we're covering off Ranger. So anyone who's watching and listening, thank you very much. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, see you on the next one.
Bye.